We decided that we wanted the S shape there to fill the whole screen, but it turned out that we didn't get this. It's because the camera jolted at the time. Cam work. This is our first attempt at filming, so there were mistakes being made. It still has some impact. The fact that you can't see Jack's face at first creates sort of aura around the character for comic effects. There you'll notice the music. We sort of wanted it to be quite soothing. We thought it'd be quite contrapuntal to have quite a dominant character followed by quite cheesy music. We also realised by going up and down stairs, it's quite interesting. Usually cameras go from side to side. Russell T Davies, who's an executive producer at the BBC, quite likes it when action goes up and down. It creates it more dynamic for the viewer. Like that, it creates a lot of aura around the character again. Jack did look at the camera there. Obviously that was a mistake, something that we learned in the thriller to avoid, but that shot was necessary. There was a continuity error here, that as two people filming at the same time, you can see another film member there filming their section. Whilst we cut down the shot quite quickly to make it not as obvious as it was, it still shows. I quite liked the shot at the time. It's a canted angle, and try and make the situation more surreal. It's quite a boring corridor, quite a lot of brown, you know, it's not very interesting. But then again, it is too canted. Sometimes it looks like a mistake. Also, Jack waits around far too long around here. That's quite an interesting shot by using high angles, making it more interesting. I didn't frame the shot exactly as I wanted to here. Peter's head, because it's the second time that we did it, there's a gap in between. I think it just looks a bit shoddy. I don't know why. It just doesn't look as professional as I wanted to. We had to silence all sound here because actually there was a bell ringing at the time, so we turned all the sound levels down. It sort of shows. It would be nicer to have sound on at the time, but obviously it would have ruined the effect of the production.
I've been expecting you, Jack Attack.
We quite like this idea of having quite extreme close-ups. It creates a sense of tension. It's quite funny as well because obviously it's two 17-year-olds. It's not that professional feel. So that mixture of trying to make it as professional as possible is for comic effect.
What's your order? So, you escaped the volcano, the acid, the dungeon, the prison, the Nazis, and more.
There are slight differences in sounds. We hadn't quite got the idea of sound levels at this point. So in between camera shots, the ambient sound does change. Also, as the clunking of chairs and somewhat around, it somewhat gives it away. Whilst setting wasn't extremely important to us at the time, it does show immediately. You know it's in a media room. You can see our Shinka poster in the background. You can see the works there. There's all sort of Sonic characters and all other TV characters portrayed on the walls. It sort of ruins the element. You sort of want it to be in a dark, closed room, but it's not. Lighting here, it's not dramatic enough. It lights them up too well. It should be more foreboding shadows, making the angles sharper. We thought this idea was quite funny, using classical music with a still shot. The mistake here is that we begin to zoom in round about here. I think this takes away from it almost, but I wanted to make it not look like a moving picture. Also, you can see that it stops there for a minute, and it just takes away. You can hear the camera clunking and things like that. It takes away that professional feel. This takes far too long. The match on action is not on here at all. Also, the music at this point had got out of hand. I think it's not as funny. It takes away from the feel of the production. Zooms in quite slowly. It should be quite a quick fit thing. That transaction was quite good. We're quite happy with it. But the lighting obviously changed. The camera shakes quite a lot here. Also, the major continuity thing in our entire thing is our teacher is actually marking the left-hand side of the screen. It's not unnoticeable. Everybody has noticed it, and it takes away. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't add anything to it. It takes away from the realness of the scenario. Quite proud of the zoom in here. The introduction of music is for the comic element here. I think it's quite good to link that music to the character. We found that it wasn't as funny when the character raised up and there wasn't the music, partly because you can't actually see Jack that well. I think the mistake that we made is that we have white here, but obviously it's white there where the camera can't get used to the light between outside and inside. We made up for this in our real media product by grading all the pictures, so you can see everything clearly. The joke still works, and we're quite proud of using the zoom. We didn't use any zooms in our actual media products because we realised they're quite risky. You can go quite a lot wrong with them. Here's the final shot with slight shake there. This title sequence works moderately well, but it's not as professional as it could have been. But overall we are quite proud of it, whilst looking forward to doing our actual media project and learning from it.